Hello everybody and welcome back for today's video of DIY investing. Today we've got some awesome news that I'm going to be diving in and taking a look at. We've got Bakkt is launching their testing platform for the Bitcoin futures with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. On top of that, the Tron CEO Justin Sun has canceled his interview and lunch with Warren Buffett today due to kidney stones. And there's also some other things that are coming out recently that I wanted to cover in this video that's very interesting and applies a lot to trading when it comes to how exactly do these news articles reflect the bias and sentiment of the market. We're going to be diving in and talking a lot about this, and finally we're going to end up finishing with a Bitcoin update to keep you guys all on the same track with what I'm expecting moving forward. Overall, there's some really awesome things taking place and I'm just super excited to share them with you. So let's get right into the video for today, guys. Alright guys, let's jump right into the update today by taking a look at a couple things. Now, to start off this video, we're going to be diving in and looking at a couple articles that I found recently because they're kind of funny and I think that they tie together with a lesson that I could teach you as far as some of you new guys that are getting into crypto. Now, if you guys have been following for a little while, there has been a planned lunch with Justin Sun, the creator of Tron, and Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a mega investor that's made billions of dollars, created massive wealth for himself over the years, and so he's very famous for doing that. Justin Sun is the creator of Tron. If you do not know what that is, that's just a cryptocurrency. The creator, Justin Sun, he actually bid the lunch because it was an auction, right? So he bid the lunch for $4.57 million, almost $4.6 million to eat with Warren Buffett. And he just canceled it because he is experiencing a health setback, which is kidney stones. So he's now experiencing kidney stones, so he had to cancel the lunch. So he postponed it with Warren Buffett. There's also rumors that Justin Sun has been banned from leaving China. Rumors are circulating in China that Justin Sun, Tron's founder, has been banned from leaving the country. There's speculation Justin Sun was issued an exit ban by China's Ministry of State Security and is currently under investigation for money laundering, Ponzi fraud, etc., according to statements on Chinese social media. A local paper there has confirmed Justin Sun, who usually resides in San Francisco, is currently in China. The paper accuses him of illegal fundraising for the Tron ICO and alleges the Tron blockchain facilitates illegal gambling services accessible to Chinese residents. Sun denied the accusation, stating, according to a very rough translation, the illegal networking fundraising was not true. After the four ministries issued the regulatory requirements on September 4th, 2017, Tron actively cooperated with the regulatory authorities to complete the retiring work on September 20th, which was highly recognized by the regulatory authorities. That statement was made 7 hours after Sun said, I am being treated in the hospital for sudden kidney stones. I canceled the lunch with Warren Buffett for the same reason. At present, the physical condition is all stable and in the recovery period. This has been what's been going on as far as some recent news inside of the crypto market. You have some rumors coming out that Justin Sun has recently just canceled the lunch with Warren Buffett. And not only that, you're having rumors China has issued him an exit ban from leaving the country. I find it interesting that all of this is going on right now because of the fact it's happening in a Bitcoin dip. So what I wanted to apply to this little thing that's coming out is not necessarily so much about the news or what's going on. I am really intrigued by the lunch with Warren Buffett. I was excited to see that, so it is kind of a bummer that it didn't go through, but it's also not that important in my opinion. Like, Warren Buffett's just one man. Even though he does have a major influence and following, it's not necessarily reliant upon this going through that crypto survives at this point. So what I was intrigued for was just the fact that I wondered if somebody could maybe sway the opinion and the critic bias of Warren Buffett to kind of go with blockchain technology and with cryptocurrency. I wanted a lot more Bitcoin maximalists to be there because I felt that was much more important than, you know, a Tron where there was an ICO and just things like that where it's just a regular altcoin, even though there could potentially be a major impact with Tron in the world and doing things. I don't know anything about Tron, to be honest, but the thing about Tron is it's not important to me but necessarily about all of these altcoins. What I would rather have Warren Buffett talk about would be specifically geared towards Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the strength of the market. That's the most important one. Now, even though there could definitely be adoption taking place in Tron, even though Tron could have a major function in today's society, like, I would just prefer that Bitcoin be that talk necessarily, or even just blockchain in general, but it's just what happens. Now, really what I wanted to tie to this video was the fact that after hearing this news, Tron actually dipped about 15%. All the way down to here is where it wicked to, and we're kind of just in the process of buying up into that final sell-off. So we're just going to watch and see what happens and takes place. But what I wanted to point out is the fact that this is all kind of happening at the terminal end, or at least close to the terminal end of a correction. Whether we sell off and make one more low, which is possible, or whether this is the bottom, this to me looks a lot more like the bottom just because of the current consolidation that we're seeing here. Even though this isn't necessarily an inverse head and shoulder anymore because we failed to break out and we're kind of just consolidating, you are seeing a lot more volume coming in at these areas. On top of that, you're seeing more volatility with the price swings. We're not breaking above and below, but we're just kind of consolidating with the volatility of the market, which is a good sign in my opinion. So it's interesting to see how this is happening in the bear market of Bitcoin, right? Because you're seeing all of these news, all of this rumors coming out about, you know, you have China coming out saying that Justin Sun's banned from leaving the country. He can't leave, he's got an exit ban. And then over here you have him posting pictures that he is in San Francisco. And so it's just interesting to me how really there's probably nothing going on at all. I don't think that there's anything going on between money laundering. I think that that's all just kind of wish-wash, and it should not be trusted. But really what the important thing in my opinion is the fact that there's so much fear happening. It dipped 15% off of that news coming out, and that just shows that there's a lot of emotion in this market right now, still to this day, and people are very weak-handed. And so in the bear market, you're going to see this. I mean, in a dip, you're going to see this. In a short-term bearish correction, you're going to see this. Even though we've started the bull market inside of Bitcoin, these altcoins have a little bit to go. Now, in my opinion, we're going to see a lot of shakeouts that happen like this. You're going to see Bitcoin dip, you're going to see altcoins dip, and then all of this major news comes out that attaches to the sentiment of Bitcoin going down. You're going to see people talk down upon it. You're going to see bad things come out, and it's going to create a lot of fear. But when it goes up again, that's when you hear all of the good things. This is when they release this functioning product. This is when they do this for their business, or whatever it might be. It follows the trend of the market. So whatever the short-term trend is, expect the news to follow. So any of you new guys getting into this crypto market, any of you new guys that didn't get a trade the whole last cycle in 2016, or whatever, if you have just started in the bear market, this is what you're going to be seeing. Now, in the bear market specifically, there was always a negative bias towards crypto because it was going down. The trend was down. And so what you were going to see was negative articles coming out about the market and negative association with cryptocurrency in general. But what happened suddenly is you had that shift. And now when Bitcoin broke about 5K and started going up, that was when you started to see the major shift in sentiment where it was actually good things coming out about Bitcoin. And now we're starting to see that shift in the market. So I wanted to point this out because of the fact you can't trust news. No matter what it is, I don't care how important this lunch was. I don't care what is going on in China. I don't think it's important at all. And I don't think it should be trusted by any means because this is what happens in a market. You have these retraces. When the retraces come, terrible news comes out, terrible emotions are displayed, and everybody's so scared. And so just pay attention for that. But next we're going to be diving in and looking at one final article, and this takes us to something that's very important. This is the one that I'm most excited to cover because it, in my opinion, is the most important one. Now, Bakkt begins testing Bitcoin futures platform following hype and delays. So we're finally getting the Bakkt futures trading platform for cryptocurrency, which is going to be Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's what's taking place here. But they're actually starting testing on the market. So that's really exciting stuff, especially with where we're at in Bitcoin. So this is now going to take us to our Bitcoin update, and I'll give you guys some analysis with what I'm seeing here. So let's drop it to a weekly time frame. Let's hide all of our drawing tools, and let's take a look at this thing. So we're at a very important time with Bitcoin. We had our initial buyback, and that's what really took us into this bullish move, which was just completely astounding, blew everybody away, continues to do so, and now we're kind of selling off from there. Now, whether this is the top or whether we go for another leg up, I don't know how these sell-offs are going to take place, and that's why it's important that we're going to have to watch and see. But we're at a very important point with Bitcoin, and I'm going to remove all drawing, or I'm going to show you guys my drawing tools and show you guys kind of what I'm expecting here. So what we saw was the final blow off top, and now we're correcting from that. You could call this a double top. This is a 3-3-5 correction as far as Elliott wave theory goes. But for this same correction, I'm mainly just paying attention to these zones. Because for me personally, when it comes to day trading, I'm much more profitable when it's less focused about short-term Elliott waves and more focused on just watching support and resistance zones, watching trend lines, and just looking at how the market is reacting. So I kind of use all of these, but this is my favorite strategy as far as day trading, is just using these simple resistance levels, using Fibonacci, and buying and selling and scaling out on the way up. So what I'm seeing here, guys, is from the last update, we were about right here. I told you guys that we were gonna come up and tag this resistance, and in fact we did. We sold off from my initial sell box, and then we made one more stab at it a little higher, but we had a strong sell-off, strong sell pressure, and it knocked us back below that resistance box. Now, this at the same time was pointed out to be a potential for an inverse head and shoulder, and that still is applied and applicable right now, even though we've had further consolidation from that point. Now, what we've seen currently is a sell-off from this resistance zone. We'll draw it about right here. So we have this resistance zone. You could draw it a little higher, maybe something like this. We have this resistance zone right here. We've sold off from it twice, and then we formed a short-term inverse, or a short-term head and shoulder formation right here. And then we actually broke from that and then sold off. So this is a confirmed head and shoulder formation that we have sold off from, but it is possible that the bigger inverse of this pattern plays out right here. So this is what I'm going to be watching out for. So this is the bullish case, is that we need to bounce right here. If we don't bounce very, very soon, it's possible we could go a little tiny bit lower, but if we don't bounce very soon, then this is going to look a lot more bearish to me, obviously, because of the fact that would imply that this has topped for the short term and we would make another lower low. But it is still in play that this could bounce, but it's not necessarily my it's not necessarily my primary, but that's what I'm going to be watching out for currently. It's just what we're going to have to see as far as what Bitcoin's going to give us. In my opinion, if we don't bounce very soon and break above this resistance box that I have drawn here, then that's going to signal that this thing is going to go for another lower low. But if we can kind of break up above and hold support here in this zone, and then kind of make higher highs on the way up, then that's going to look a little bit more bullish, but it's not going to be a confirmed trend reversal until we can break resistance here at about 10,900. That's going to be my major point here. Any consolidation below this is just noise before we have another lower low. If we can break above this, then that's going to signal a short-term setup that would take us to about 11,500 to 11,700. And that's going to be my higher box that I have drawn up there. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for Bitcoin on the short term. However, if we do decide to drop for another lower low, because what I was watching is we had the potential that this could be the 1, and then this could be the 3 before we make one more final 5-wave impulse back down. Now that 5-wave impulse, in my opinion, or at least my next target, is going to be 8,300. That's going to be my next realistic target for a sell-off with Bitcoin if it makes another lower low. Now that would also show us that this was a confirmed 335 correction, where we saw 2 ABC corrections. Oops. Followed by a 5-wave impulse down. Now, there's a couple wave counts that I have here. This is my primary wave count moving forward for the potential that this thing goes for another lower low. But we're gonna have to mainly just watch and see what happens here if we're gonna bounce up and hold support. But until we break that resistance level at 10,600 or 10,900, I would expect this thing to continue to go lower. But this is really exciting things as far as what Bitcoin's giving us. Now, one reason why I wanted to point out a bearish bias towards Bitcoin is because this setup reminds me a lot of what we saw at the top of the last cycle. Which takes us back over here. This reminds me a lot of the same market structure, where you have the initial sell-off, make our first lower high. In this case, on the other cycle, this would be our double top on our other side, and then we sell off through that. Now, what we saw on the sell-off was at the bottom of that move, at the bottom of capitulation, we bounced up and created what looked to be a potential inverse head and shoulder, right under resistance of the first lower high. And then what happened? We sold off from that. Now, even though we pretty much consolidated at that same support level pretty much the entire bear market, it still reminds me of the same market structure that we're seeing right here. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to drop down here, make a descending triangle, and make another lower low like the last cycle. It's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm just showing you is the same market structure, where you had a sell-off, you had the buyback, this is the first lower high, we sell off from that, this is capitulation, we have our first bounce, inverse head and shoulder underneath resistance, and then we start selling off from that. And so it is very possible that we're going to head back down here to about 9,100. I think that in the wake of us dropping back down to 9,100, you can't really go wrong picking some up back down at that value, because there always is the possibility of a bounce. Now, I'm going to be accumulating all the way down through here. My next target's going to be 8,300. I accumulated the dip here at 9,100 because that was one of my targets for this retrace back down. So really, we're going to have to watch and see what the market's going to give us, but this is what I'm watching for Bitcoin. I just thought it was interesting that in the sell-off from this initial top that we had here, in this sell-off, we're starting to see negative news coming out. We're starting to see, you know, cryptocurrency rumors popping out, and it's causing coins to drop really quickly. And so I just wanted to show you guys this because this is the emotional psychology of the market, and it's very intriguing stuff for some of you guys that haven't been around to see it. So this is my update I had for you guys. Backed is coming. They're testing their market right now, so that's going to be tons of new money coming into cryptocurrency. It's awesome that it's happening right in this dip that we're experiencing, where this could be, you know, a nice, really nice buying opportunity before we start to see some very, very hyped cycles on the way back up. So this is what I had for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do myself a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel. If you guys want to get more access to my trades, click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to all my Discord. I have the invitation link in the description of this video, so just click on that, and then you're going to get redirected to my Discord server. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.